Most men are miners of dust, while fear is the shadow that blinds them to the gold beneath their feet. You wake each morning chained not by reality, but by illusions whispered into your mind. Yet I tell you, fear is nothing more than faith pointed in the wrong direction. For decades I sat at the feet of giants, and every one of them declared the same law: conquer fear, and the universe itself bends. So when the sun rises, speak with fire, speak with certainty, and the grip of fear will dissolve. Today, your words become your weapon, and your destiny begins to obey. Stop what you are doing and listen. The world has lied to you about courage. They told you to wait until you feel brave before you act. They told you to gather strength before you move. They taught you that courage comes first, then action follows. But I tell you plainly, this is the great deception that keeps men slaves to their own hesitation. The law operates in reverse. You act first, and courage obeys. You speak the command, and fear retreats. You move toward your definite purpose, and the chemistry of your mind reorganizes itself to serve your decision. This is not philosophy. This is operational law. You were not born to negotiate with fear. You were not designed to wait for permission from your emotions. You are a being of thought, decision, and command. And today, you will learn to govern yourself as such. Here is your roadmap to mental mastery. In Movement 1, you will establish your definite chief aim, the written law that gives your mind direction and removes fear's breeding ground. In Movement 2, you will master autosuggestion with emotion, programming your subconscious to serve belief instead of doubt. In Movement 3, you will build the daily martial rhythm that transforms scattered effort into systematic power. In Movement 4, you will make the bridge-burning decision that eliminates retreat and forces victory. In Movement 5, you will form your Mastermind Alliance and establish the daily altar that sustains faith when emotion fails. In Movement 6, you will govern your speech and master strategic silence, speaking only what commands reality. And at the conclusion, you will receive the 11 mirror lines, the 3X repetition protocol, and the measurable 306090-day system that will seal your transformation. Stay until the end. For what I give you in Movement 6 is not theory, but operational ritual. The exact words, the precise timing, the measured silence that dissolves fear at its root and installs the government of self. Number, Movement 1. The written law that commands fear. Fear feeds on uncertainty. It grows fat in the soil of unclear purpose. But when you write your definite chief aim with precision, when you place it before your eyes daily, when you speak it aloud with conviction, fear begins to starve. For how can a man fear the unknown when his aim is known? How can he hesitate when his direction is written? Most men drift through life without a definite purpose, and so they drift through life in definite fear. They wake each morning not knowing what they are building, and so they go to bed each night not knowing what they have achieved. They are ruled by circumstances because they have never ruled themselves. But you will be different. You will write your law and live by it. Andrew Carnegie understood this principle. He did not stumble into steel empire. He conceived it first in thought, wrote it as definite aim, and then arranged every hour, every association, every decision to serve that written purpose. He transformed time into possession because he knew what he possessed time for. His written aim became the organizing principle that commanded not just his actions, but his very identity. When Carnegie wrote his definite purpose, he did not write a wish. He wrote a command. He did not describe what he hoped might happen. He declared what must happen. And that declaration became the law that governed his days, his years, his entire destiny. This is what you must understand. Your written aim is not a goal. It is an order you give to your subconscious mind. It is the blueprint that your inner faculties will follow without question. But only if you write it with the precision of law and repeat it with the conviction of command. Look around you now. Every man you admire, every fortune you respect, every achievement that commands your attention began as a thought made definite through written purpose. The building you sit in, the device you hold, the very words you hear now, All existed first as definite aim in someone's mind, written with clarity and pursued with persistence. Your aim cannot be vague. I want to be successful is not an aim, it is a wish. I want more money is not a purpose, it is a complaint. Your definite chief aim must be specific in amount, definite in time, clear in method, and absolute in belief. Write this: by specific date, I will specific achievement, by specific method, because I am specific identity. Fill those brackets with your law. Make it so clear that a stranger could read it and know exactly what you intend to accomplish, but writing is only the beginning. You must read your aim aloud every morning and every evening. You must speak it as if you are issuing orders to the universe itself. Your voice must carry the tone of a man who knows his words will be obeyed. Do you understand why this works? Because your subconscious mind has no will of its own. It accepts whatever instruction you give it through repetition and emotion. When you repeatedly declare your definite aim with feeling, you are programming your inner faculties to recognize and seize every opportunity that aligns with your purpose. Fear cannot operate in the presence of definite purpose. Fear thrives on confusion, but your written aim creates clarity. Fear feeds on indecision, but your definite purpose creates decision. Fear grows in the darkness of uncertainty, but your written law creates the light of direction. Here is your first command. Write your definite chief aim in one clear sentence. Make it specific, make it definite, make it yours. Then read it aloud with the voice of authority. Do not whisper it like a prayer. Declare it like a law, and speak this affirmation with power. I do not wait for freedom. I build it now. I do not wait for courage. I act, and courage follows. My written aim is the law that governs my days. But written purpose alone is not enough. You must charge it with the emotional fuel that transforms thought into belief. You must program your mind to serve your aim instead of your fear. Number, movement 2, the chemistry of unshakable belief. Affirmation without emotion is like seed without soil. It lies on the surface, exposed to every wind of doubt, never taking root in the subconscious where belief is built. But affirmation, combined with vivid mental imagery and genuine feeling, creates a chemical reaction in your mind that dissolves fear and installs unshakable conviction. Your subconscious mind operates like a faithful servant. It does not judge your instructions. It does not question your commands. It simply executes whatever you impress upon it through repetition backed by emotion. This is why the same principle that can make a man rich can also keep him poor. If he repeatedly imagines failure with feeling, his subconscious will arrange circumstances to match that expectation. But if he repeatedly visualizes success with emotional intensity, his inner faculties will move heaven and earth to make that vision real. Charles M. Schwab became the first man in American history to earn $1 million salary, not because he was the most educated or the most talented, but because he mastered the art of emotional conviction. When he walked into a room, men felt his certainty before he spoke a word. When he described a vision, they saw it through his eyes. When he made a commitment, they knew he would rather die than break it. How did Schwab develop such commanding presence? He practiced what I call the mirror method of emotional programming. Every morning, he would stand before his mirror and speak his aims with such conviction that he convinced himself first. He would look into his own eyes and declare his intentions with the fervor of a man making a sacred vow, and that daily practice of emotional affirmation created an inner certainty that radiated outward into every aspect of his life. Schwab understood that conviction is contagious. When you truly believe in your own success, others begin to believe in it too. When you speak your aims with genuine emotion, the world starts to rearrange itself to match your expectation. But this power only operates when your affirmations are charged with real feeling, not merely repeated as empty words. Most men practice what I call dead affirmations. They mumble positive statements without conviction, wondering why their circumstances never change. They repeat, "I am successful," while feeling like failures. They declare, I am wealthy while believing they are poor. This is not affirmation, it is self-deception. And the subconscious mind sees through such hollow repetition instantly. True affirmation requires what I call emotional saturation. You must see your goal achieved in your mind's eye. You must feel the satisfaction of its accomplishment in your chest. You must hear the congratulations, smell the success, taste the victory. You must make your affirmation so real in imagination that your subconscious cannot tell the difference between the visualized achievement and actual experience. Here is how you build emotional conviction. Stand before a mirror where you can see your own eyes clearly. Speak your affirmation as if you are making a promise to the most important person in your life, because you are. Look directly into your own eyes and declare your intention with the conviction of a man who knows his words carry the force of law. But your affirmations must be specific to your written aim. Generic positive statements have no power because they have no direction. Your affirmations must be personal, present tense, and emotionally charged statements that support your definite chief aim. Create 11 specific affirmations that align with your written purpose. Make each one a present tense declaration of what you are becoming. Instead of I will be wealthy, say I am wealthy now through my growing understanding of value creation. Instead of I hope to lead, say I lead with wisdom and command respect through service. Practice this daily ritual. Stand before your mirror at the same time each morning. Speak each of your 11 affirmations 3 times with growing intensity. See yourself living each statement. Feel the truth of each word. End with this master affirmation. I speak law. I speak belief. I speak what I am becoming. Do you feel the difference between empty repetition and emotional declaration? One leaves you unchanged. The other rewires your entire nervous system for success. The human mind is like a radio receiver, constantly tuned to the frequency of your dominant thoughts and feelings. When you charge your affirmations with genuine emotion, you tune your mental receiver to pick up opportunities, ideas, and circumstances that match your expectation. But when your affirmations lack feeling, your receiver remains tuned to whatever frequency fear has set for you. Thomas Edison understood this principle. Before he created the incandescent light bulb, he saw it clearly in his imagination. He felt the satisfaction of its completion. He heard the praise of a grateful world. He made the invisible invention so real in his mind that his hands had no choice but to build what his heart had already received. And when others mocked his impossible dream, his emotional conviction was so strong that their doubt could not penetrate his certainty. This is your power, too. When you program your subconscious with emotionally charged affirmations aligned with your definite purpose, you create an inner certainty that commands outer circumstances. Fear cannot survive in the presence of such conviction. Doubt dissolves when faced with such emotional intensity. And the world begins to yield to a man who knows with such certainty what he intends to accomplish. Speak this command with feeling. I feed my mind only thoughts that serve my purpose. I charge my affirmations with genuine emotion. I convince myself first, and the world follows my conviction. But emotional programming without consistent rhythm becomes sporadic inspiration that fades with time. You must build the daily Marshall system that makes your mental discipline as reliable as sunrise. Number, movement 3. The Marshall rhythm of mental mastery. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. The man who governs his daily rhythm governs his destiny. But the man who drifts through his days without systematic practice becomes the servant of whatever mood, circumstance, or influence happens to capture his attention. Fear loves disorder. It thrives in the chaos of unpredictable schedules, scattered attention, and reactive living. But fear cannot survive in the presence of martial rhythm, where every hour has purpose, every practice has power, and every day builds upon the foundation of the day before. What I call martial rhythm is not military rigidity. It is the systematic application of mental discipline that transforms scattered effort into concentrated power. It is the daily practice that makes your mental strength as reliable as your physical reflexes. Thomas Edison did not discover electric light through sporadic inspiration. He created it through systematic experimentation. Every day at the same hour, he entered his laboratory. Every day he followed the same methodical process. Every day he recorded his progress with scientific precision. His rhythm was not monotonous routine, it was purposeful repetition that accumulated into breakthrough. Edison's laboratory was his altar, and his daily practice was his worship. He understood that genius is not a flash of inspiration, but the compounding result of consistent application. He made his rhythm so strong that failure could not break it, so systematic that setback could not stop it, so regular that doubt could not disturb it. This is the rhythm you must build. Not the grinding repetition of meaningless tasks, but the purposeful practice of mental disciplines that serve your definite chief aim. Your daily rhythm must include the systematic programming of your subconscious, the regular review of your written purpose, and the consistent application of the principles that transform thought into reality. Most men practice what I call weekend warriorism. They attend a seminar and feel inspired for 3 days. They read a book and make resolutions for a week. They have a breakthrough conversation and feel motivated for a month. But they never build the daily system that makes their growth as predictable as the sunrise. Such scattered effort produces scattered results. Inspiration without systematic application is like fire without fuel. It burns bright for a moment, then fades to cold ash. But daily disciplined practice is like a well-tended furnace that burns steady and strong regardless of weather, season, or circumstance. Here is your martial rhythm. Every morning at the same hour, conduct your mirror session with your 11 affirmations. Every evening at the same hour, review your written aim and visualize its accomplishment. Every week at the same time, audit your progress and adjust your methods. This rhythm creates the predictable structure that starves fear of its chaos and feeds faith with consistency. But your rhythm must be protected like a fortress. The world will attempt to break your schedule with its demands, interruptions, and emergencies. Well-meaning people will try to steal your sacred hours with their needs, requests, and social obligations. You must guard your rhythm as jealously as a general guards his strategic position. Schedule your 30 minutes of mental discipline as if it were a meeting with the most important client in the world, because at Island, your morning session is your meeting with your future self. Your evening review is your appointment with your higher purpose. These are not optional activities to be squeezed in when convenient. They are the non-negotiable foundations of your mental mastery. Do you see how this works? When you protect your rhythm protects your progress. When you honor your schedule honors your aims. When you make your mental discipline as predictable as your meals, your results become as reliable as your appetite. The man who builds martial rhythm discovers something remarkable. Consistency creates momentum, and momentum makes everything easier. The practice that required tremendous willpower in the first week becomes automatic in the fourth. The discipline that felt like burden in the first month becomes a source of strength in the third. Carnegie understood this principle. He didn't build his steel empire through sporadic effort or occasional inspiration. He created systems and rhythms that operated with mechanical precision. Every morning he reviewed his aims. Every evening he planned the next day's priorities. Every week he measured progress against written objectives. His success was not the result of superior talent, but superior systems. This is your command. Establish your sacred 30 minutes of mental discipline. Choose the same time every day. Protect it from all interruption. Use it for your mirror affirmations, your written aim review, and your purposeful visualization. Make this rhythm as unchangeable as sunrise. And speak this affirmation with conviction. Each day I act in obedience to my written law. Each day I sell and prove who I am becoming. Daily discipline rules my fate, and my fate serves my purpose. Your rhythm without decisive commitment is merely hopeful routine. You must burn the bridges that allow retreat and make your success the only possible destination. Movement 4. The bridge-burning decision that forces victory. Indecision is fear's greatest ally. Every time you hesitate, you train your mind to doubt itself. Every time you delay, you teach your subconscious that your aims are not serious. Every time you leave yourself an escape route, you guarantee that you will eventually take it. But decision has the power to transform your entire reality in an instant. Not the decision to try, but the decision to succeed. Not the decision to attempt, but the decision to achieve. Not the decision to hope, but the decision to command. True decision burns bridges. It removes the possibility of retreat. It eliminates all options except the one that leads to your definite chief aim. And when your mind knows there is no way back, it discovers resources and capabilities you never knew you possessed. Henry Ford understood this principle when he demanded that his engineers create the V8 engine. They told him it was impossible. The laws of physics wouldn't allow it. The current technology couldn't support it. But Ford had made a decision that went beyond their understanding of possibility. He didn't ask them to try. He ordered them to succeed. He didn't suggest they experiment. He commanded them to produce. And when they continued to protest that it couldn't be done, he gave them a choice: find a way or find another job. For months, they returned with failure. For months, they explained why it wouldn't work. But Ford never wavered. He had burned the bridge of doubt. He had eliminated the option of impossibility. He had decided, and his decision commanded their creativity. Finally, after countless attempts and endless obstacles, they found the way. Not because the laws of physics changed, but because Ford's decision changed their understanding of what was possible. His unwavering commitment forced their innovation. His bridge-burning decision created the breakthrough that revolutionized the automotive industry. This is the power of decision without retreat. When you eliminate all options except success, your mind stops wasting energy on alternative scenarios and focuses all its creative power on making your aim reality. But most men make what I call comfort decisions. They decide to try their best. They decide to give it their honest effort. They decide to see what happens. These are not decisions. They are hesitations dressed in hopeful language. They leave the bridge intact, so retreat remains comfortable. True decision feels different. It creates what I call productive anxiety, the nervous energy of a man who has committed himself completely and now must rise to meet his commitment. It generates the creative tension that forces innovation, demands excellence, and refuses to accept anything less than achievement. Look at Abraham Lincoln. When he decided to preserve the Union, he didn't decide to try his best to keep the country together. He decided that the Union would be preserved, whatever the cost. That decision forced him to find strategies, allies, and inner resources he never would have accessed if retreat had remained an option. Lincoln's bridge-burning decision transformed not just his own capabilities, but the course of human history. Because when a man truly decides, the universe conspires to support his commitment. Here is what you must understand. Every day you don't decide is a day you decide to remain where you are. Indecision is still a decision, but it's a decision to let circumstances decide for you. It's a decision to remain a victim rather than become a victor. Your definite chief aim requires a definite decision, not the decision to pursue it, but the decision to achieve it, not the decision to work toward it, but the decision to make it your only acceptable outcome. This means identifying what you must give up to achieve what you want. Success always requires sacrifice, but most men want to keep their old life while adding a new one. This is impossible. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot pursue two destinies. You must choose. What distraction will you eliminate? What comfortable habit will you abandon? What safety net will you remove? What bridge will you burn? Make this decision now. Choose one central distraction that steals your focus from your aim. Write it down, then write your commitment to eliminate it completely for the next 90 days. Sign your name as if you were signing a binding contract with your future self, because you are. This is not about willpower. This is about decision power. When you truly decide, willpower becomes unnecessary because you have eliminated the internal conflict that requires it. Speak this command: I choose my future over my comfort. I choose my aim over my fear. I burn the bridge of retreat and march toward victory. But decision without alliance is decision under pressure. You must gather the minds that will support your commitment and multiply your mental power. Number, movement. 5. The Mastermind Alliance and Sacred Altar. No man rises alone. Every fortune was built through alliance. Every achievement of magnitude was accomplished through the coordinated effort of minds working in harmony toward a common purpose. This is the principle I call the mastermind, and it is one of the most powerful forces available to any man who understands how to harness it. The mastermind is not merely cooperation or teamwork. It is the fusion of minds in such complete harmony that a third mind is created, a mind more powerful than any of the individual minds that compose it. When two or more people coordinate their thoughts and efforts toward a definite purpose, they generate a mental energy that transcends the sum of their individual capabilities. John D. Rockefeller understood this principle better than any man of his generation. He did not build Standard Oil through individual brilliance alone. He created a mastermind alliance of the keenest minds in the oil industry, coordinated their efforts toward a single definite purpose, and maintained such perfect harmony among them that their combined mental power made him the richest man in America. Rockefeller's mastermind met regularly, spoke with one voice, and moved with coordinated precision. Each member contributed his specialized knowledge, but all served the master plan. No ego was allowed to disrupt the harmony. No personal agenda was permitted to divide the alliance. They understood that their individual success depended upon their collective achievement. This is what most men fail to understand about wealth and achievement. It is never a solo performance. The illusion of the self-made man is just that, an illusion. Behind every great fortune stands a great alliance. Behind every major achievement stands a coordinated effort of minds working in perfect harmony. But forming a true mastermind alliance requires more than gathering successful people in a room. It requires the careful selection of minds that complement your own, the establishment of a definite common purpose, and the maintenance of complete harmony among all members. Your mastermind alliance should begin small. One other person who shares your commitment to growth, who believes in your definite chief aim, and who will hold you accountable to your highest standards. This person becomes your partner in mental discipline, your witness to your daily practice, and your ally in the war against mediocrity. Meet with your mastermind partner weekly. Review your written aims together. Share your affirmations aloud. Discuss your progress honestly. Challenge each other to higher standards. And speak only of victory, never of defeat. Here is the critical element most men miss. Your mastermind alliance must be founded on giving, not getting. You do not join a mastermind to extract value from others. You join to contribute value to a common purpose. The more you serve the alliance, the more the alliance serves you. Rockefeller prospered because he made every member of his alliance prosperous. Carnegie succeeded because he made his associates millionaires. Ford built an empire because he elevated everyone around him. They understood that lasting alliances are built on mutual benefit, not personal exploitation. But even the strongest mastermind alliance requires daily individual discipline to maintain its power. This is where the sacred altar comes into play. Your altar is not a religious shrine, but a place of daily practice where you maintain the mental discipline that makes you worthy of alliance with other disciplined minds. Your altar is wherever you conduct your daily mental training. It might be your desk, your mirror, your meditation chair, or simply a quiet corner where you will not be disturbed. The location matters less than the consistency. What makes your altar sacred is not where it is, but what you do there every day. At your altar, you review your definite chief aim. You speak your affirmations with emotional conviction. You visualize your success with vivid detail. You plan your day with definite purpose. And you commit yourself again to the disciplines that transform thought into reality. This daily practice at your altar maintains what I call mental rhythm. Just as your body needs daily nourishment to maintain physical strength, Your mind needs daily discipline to maintain mental power. Your altar is where you feed your mind the thoughts that serve your purpose and starve it of the thoughts that serve your fears. The combination of Mastermind Alliance and daily altar practice creates an unbreakable foundation for achievement. Your alliance multiplies your mental power through coordinated effort. Your altar maintains your individual discipline through daily practice. Together, they create the conditions where failure becomes impossible and success becomes inevitable. Solomon, the wisest and wealthiest king in history, understood both principles perfectly. He gathered the greatest minds of his time into alliance, seeking counsel from experts in every field. But he also maintained his daily practice of wisdom, beginning each day in meditation and ending each evening in reflection. His alliance gave him access to collective knowledge. His altar gave him the wisdom to apply it properly. This is why Solomon asked for understanding before he asked for riches. He knew that wealth without wisdom is dangerous, but wisdom with alliance is invincible. He built his kingdom on the foundation of daily discipline supported by coordinated alliance, and his reign became legendary. You must follow the same pattern. Build your mastermind alliance with careful selection and patient cultivation. Maintain your sacred altar with daily discipline and consistent practice. Let your alliance multiply your power while your altar maintains your purpose. Here is your command. Find one person this week who shares your commitment to growth and propose a weekly accountability partnership. Meet every week at the same time. Review goals, share progress, and challenge each other to excellence. And establish your daily altar practice where you begin and end each day with purposeful mental discipline. Speak this affirmation: I serve others through value and grow through law. Aligned minds amplify power, and daily practice multiplies results. But alliance and discipline without governed speech becomes scattered energy that dissipates rather than concentrates. You must learn to rule your tongue as absolutely as you rule your thoughts. Number. Movement 6. The government of speech and strategic silence. Your words are seeds. They plant themselves in your subconscious mind and in the minds of others, taking root and growing according to their nature. Careless words plant weeds of doubt, complaint, and limitation. Governed words plant flowers of faith, purpose, and achievement. Most men are gardeners who scatter their seeds randomly, then wonder why their harvest is chaotic. They speak doubt in the morning and wonder why they feel uncertain. They complain at lunch and wonder why their afternoon is difficult. They gossip in the evening and wonder why their relationships lack trust. But the man who governs his speech governs his destiny. Every word becomes a command to his subconscious. Every sentence becomes an instruction to his circumstances. Every conversation becomes a force that either serves his purpose or betrays it. King Solomon, whose wisdom produced wealth beyond measure, wrote, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." This is not poetry, this is law. Your speech has the power to kill your dreams or give them life. Your words can poison your mind with limitation or nourish it with possibility. Consider how Solomon built his wealth, through governed speech and strategic silence. When the Queen of Sheba came to test his wisdom, she found a man who spoke little but spoke law. Every word carried weight. Every sentence served purpose. Every conversation moved his kingdom forward. Solomon understood that the man who talks too much reveals too much. The man who explains constantly appears uncertain. The man who argues frequently loses authority. But the man who speaks only when his words serve purpose commands attention and respect. This is the first law of governed speech. Speak only what serves your definite chief aim. Before you open your mouth, ask yourself, does this statement move me toward my goal or away from it? If it moves you toward your goal, speak with conviction. If it moves you away, maintain strategic silence. The second law is this: eliminate all complaint from your vocabulary. Complaint is a confession of powerlessness. When you complain, you declare that circumstances are stronger than you are. You program your subconscious to expect difficulty and train your mind to see problems instead of opportunities. Replace every complaint with a command. Instead of, "This is difficult," say, "I am growing stronger." Instead of, "I can't afford this," say, "I am increasing my value." Instead of, "Nothing is working," say, "I am finding the way." The third law: never speak your fears aloud. Fear shared becomes fear multiplied. When you give voice to your worries, you give them power. When you express your doubts, you make them real. Your speech should only serve your faith, never feed your fears. But governed speech requires more than positive language. It requires strategic silence. There is tremendous power in the man who knows when to speak and when to remain quiet. Silence creates space for others to reveal themselves. Silence generates respect and commands attention. Silence allows your actions to speak louder than your words. The man who constantly explains his plans dissipates their power. The man who argues every point loses his authority. The man who talks continuously about his goals rarely achieves them. But the man who speaks little and acts much creates mystery, generates respect, and achieves results that speak for themselves. Andrew Carnegie understood this principle. In business negotiations, he was known for his strategic silences. While others filled the air with explanations and justifications, Carnegie would sit quietly, watching, listening, thinking. His silence made others uncomfortable, and in their discomfort, they would reveal information that gave him tremendous advantage. Carnegie's silence was not passive, but active. It was purposeful, strategic, and powerful. He understood that in a world full of noise, the man who creates space for silence stands out like a beacon. In a culture of explanation, the man who lets his results speak commands attention. Here is your practice. For the next 7 days, eliminate all complaints from your speech. When you feel the urge to complain, stop and reframe the statement as a command or affirmation. Keep a written record of how many times you catch yourself beginning to complain and successfully redirect your speech. Also practice strategic silence. In your next 3 conversations, speak 30% less than usual. Ask questions instead of making statements. Listen more than you talk. Observe how this affects the dynamic of the conversation and the respect you receive. Your goal is not to become antisocial, but to become selective. Not to stop communicating, but to make your communication count. Every word should carry weight. Every sentence should serve purpose. Every conversation should move you closer to your definite chief aim. Remember, your subconscious mind is always listening to your speech. It hears your casual comments, your offhand remarks, your unconscious expressions. Whatever you repeat consistently becomes the instruction your inner mind follows. If you constantly speak limitation, your subconscious creates limitation. But if you consistently speak law, your subconscious creates law. This is why your daily affirmations must be spoken aloud with conviction. This is why your definite chief aim must be read with authority. This is why every expression of your goals must carry the tone of certainty. You are programming your most powerful ally, your own subconscious mind, and the programming only takes root when delivered with emotional conviction through spoken word. The ancient wisdom teaches, "In the beginning was the Word." This means that creation begins with speech. Your spoken word is the beginning of your created reality. But only when that word is governed, purposeful, and aligned with your definite purpose. Speak this command: I speak law, I silence noise. My words are orders that reality obeys. Now comes the moment you have been waiting for. The ritual that seals your transformation and gives you the practical system to maintain it. Number, the sacred ritual of mental command. You have learned the principles. You have heard the laws. You have received the commands. Now you must seal your transformation with daily ritual that makes these teachings operational in your life. This is not theory to be discussed, but practice to be lived. Your morning ritual begins at dawn. Rise 30 minutes earlier than your current habit demands. This time belongs to you and your future self. No phones, no notifications, no input from the world. This is your time of command. Stand before a mirror where you can see your own eyes clearly. Look directly into your own gaze and speak these 11 lines with growing conviction. Each line must be repeated 3 times with increasing emotional intensity. I am the master of my fate because I master my thoughts. I command wealth through wisdom and serve others through value. My written aim is law, and law creates reality. I act despite fear, and courage follows my action. Daily discipline is my foundation, and consistency my power. I speak only what serves my purpose and silence what does not. My mind receives only thoughts that build my destiny. I decide completely and burn bridges to dud. Lesser choices. Allied minds multiply my power, and focused thought creates my world. I am worthy of my highest aims because I act to achieve them. Today I move closer to my definite purpose through definite action. After speaking these lines 9 times each, conclude with this master statement. I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul, and the architect of my destiny. Now close your eyes and enter 5 minutes of strategic silence. Breathe deeply. 4 counts in, 4 counts held, 6 counts out. In this silence, visualize your definite chief aim as already achieved. See yourself living the reality your words have commanded. Feel the satisfaction of achievement. Hear the recognition of others. Make it so real that your subconscious cannot distinguish between visualization and memory. This completes your morning ritual. 25 minutes of mental command that programs your day for success and your subconscious for achievement. Your evening ritual is shorter but equally important. At the same time, each evening, return to your mirror. Read your written, definite chief aim aloud 3 times with conviction. Then, spend 60 seconds in gratitude for the progress made toward your goal. End by writing 1 sentence about the single most important action you will take tomorrow to advance your purpose. Weekly, conduct your system-building session. For 60 minutes, create 1 small system that converts your time into something of lasting value. This might be a process you can teach, a checklist you can sell, a method you can license, or a system you can automate. The goal is to build assets, not just complete tasks. Your measurement system operates on 30, 60, and 90-day cycles. In 30 days, you measure consistency. Have you completed your morning ritual at least 80% of the time? In 60 days, you add production. Have you created at least 1 valuable system? In 90 days, you evaluate and elevate. Has your definite chief aim evolved to a higher level of specificity and ambition? Every Sunday evening, conduct your weekly audit. 20 minutes to review your consistency percentage, note your progress toward your aim, and plan the coming week's priority actions. This audit keeps you honest and keeps your practice sharp. Here is the critical element most men miss. This ritual is not flexible. It is not something you do when you feel motivated. It is law you obey, regardless of mood, circumstance, or convenience. Your commitment to the ritual is your commitment to your transformation. The mirror work reprograms your subconscious through repetition and emotion. The strategic silence allows new thoughts to emerge and old limitations to dissolve. The system building creates tangible progress toward independence. The measurement ensures accountability and continuous improvement. But what if you encounter resistance? What if the old voice of doubt tries to reclaim its territory? What if fear whispers that you are not ready, not worthy, not capable? This is where most men fail. They expect transformation to be comfortable. They want change without challenge, growth without resistance, victory without battle. But the law operates differently. The moment you begin to rise, everything that kept you down will attempt to pull you back. Your old identity will fight for its life. Your comfortable habits will resist disruption. Your familiar fears will seem more reasonable than your unfamiliar faith. This is not a sign that something is wrong. This is proof that something is working. The resistance you feel is not your enemy. It is the necessary friction that transforms potential energy into kinetic energy. Just as a rocket must push against tremendous resistance to escape Earth's gravity, you must push against internal resistance to escape the gravity of your old life. Here are the most common objections your old mind will whisper, and here are the antidotes that dissolve them. I don't have time for all this ritual. Time is not found, it is allocated. You have time for everything you prioritize. If your transformation is not your highest priority, you will remain transformed. Create the time by eliminating the activities that serve your old identity. This feels artificial and forced. All growth feels unnatural at first because you are literally becoming a new person. The man who lifts weights feels artificial strain because his body is not yet strong. The man who practices new skills feels awkward because his abilities are not yet developed. Feeling unnatural is proof you are growing beyond your natural limitations. People will think I'm crazy or arrogant. The opinions of others are none of your business. You cannot control what people think, but you can control what you become. The same people who doubt your rise will celebrate your arrival. But more importantly, their opinion of you is less important than your opinion of yourself. What if I fail after all this effort? Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the raw material of success. Every failure teaches you something you need to know. Every setback shows you something you need to see. Every obstacle develops strength you need to possess. You cannot fail if you refuse to quit. I don't have support from family or friends. Support is not required. Decision Island. Lincoln had more enemies than allies when he decided to preserve the Union. Edison had more critics than supporters when he decided to light the world. Your transformation does not depend on the approval of others. It depends on your commitment to yourself. I've tried things like this before and nothing changed. You have never tried exactly this before because you have never been exactly who you are now. Every experience has prepared you for this moment. Every failure has taught you what not to do. Every setback has shown you what does not work. You are more prepared now than you have ever been. These objections are not personal to you. They are universal to the human experience of growth. Every man who has ever risen above his circumstances has heard these same whispers. The difference between those who succeed and those who surrender is not the presence of resistance, but the response to it. When resistance comes, and it will, you must respond with increased intensity, not decreased commitment. You must lean into the discomfort, not away from it. You must use the opposition as fuel for your determination, not evidence for your limitation. Remember the law. What you consistently do, despite how you feel, becomes who you are. Your feelings are not facts. Your emotions are not instructions. Your comfort is not your compass. Your commitment to your definite chief aim must be stronger than any temporary discomfort that tries to distract you from it. Now let us address the deeper question that underlies all resistance. Are you truly worthy of the success you seek? This question strikes at the heart of every man's deepest fear. Not the fear of failure, but the fear of success. Not the fear that you cannot achieve your aims, but the fear that you can, and that achievement will demand more of you than you are prepared to give. You are worthy not because of what you have already accomplished, but because of what you are willing to become. Worthiness is not a prerequisite for success. It is the result of successful action. You do not earn the right to rise by first proving you deserve it. You prove you deserve it by rising. Every great man in history was once exactly where you are now, uncertain of his worthiness, unclear about his path, unsure of his capabilities. The difference is that they decided to act despite the uncertainty, to move despite the fear, to commit despite the doubt. Carnegie was not born worthy of a steel empire. He became worthy by building it. Ford was not born worthy of revolutionizing transportation. He became worthy by creating the revolution. Lincoln was not born worthy of preserving the Union. He became worthy by preserving it. Your worthiness is not determined by your past, but by your present commitment to your future. The moment you decide to transform yourself, you become worthy of transformation. The moment you commit to your definite chief aim, you become worthy of achieving it. The moment you begin the daily ritual of mental command, You become worthy of the results it produces. Stop asking if you deserve success. Start proving that you do through daily action aligned with definite purpose. Stop wondering if you are capable. Start demonstrating your capability through consistent practice. Stop questioning your worthiness. Start earning it through unwavering commitment. The ritual I have given you is not just a practice, it is a proof. Every morning you complete the 11 affirmations, you prove your commitment. Every evening you review your written aim, you prove your seriousness. Every week you build a new system, you prove your growth. Every month you measure your progress, you prove your discipline. These proofs accumulate into unshakable self-confidence, not the hollow confidence of positive thinking, but the solid confidence of positive action. Not the fragile confidence that depends on external validation, but the durable confidence that comes from keeping promises to yourself. This confidence becomes the foundation of your personal magnetism. People are drawn to those who know where they are going and are committed to getting there. They respect those who speak with conviction backed by consistent action. They follow those who demonstrate mastery over themselves before attempting to lead others. Your transformation will not go unnoticed. As you become more disciplined, others will seek your counsel. As you become more focused, others will respect your time. As you become more successful, others will want to join your mission. But these external changes are merely reflections of the internal change you have commanded through daily ritual. The most profound change will be in how you see yourself. You will no longer identify with the man who waited for permission to act. You will no longer recognize the voice that made excuses instead of progress. You will no longer relate to the person who complained about circumstances instead of commanding them. You will see yourself as you truly are, a being of unlimited potential, constrained only by the beliefs you choose to accept and the actions you choose to take. You will understand that your current circumstances are not your final destination, but merely your starting point. You will know that your past does not determine your future unless you allow it to. This transformation creates what I call gravitational shift. Just as a planet's gravity pulls objects toward it, your transformed identity will pull opportunities, resources, and allies toward you. Not through mystical attraction, but through practical magnetism. When you become the kind of person who takes definite action toward worthy goals, you naturally encounter others who are doing the same. Your Mastermind Alliance will expand as like-minded individuals recognize your commitment and seek to align with your energy. Your opportunities will multiply as your increased capabilities make you valuable to a wider range of ventures. Your resources will grow as your systematic approach to value creation generates measurable results. But remember, this gravitational shift only occurs when your transformation is real, not when it is performed. The world can sense authenticity just as surely as it can detect pretense. Your external success will only match your internal development. Your public achievements will only reflect your private disciplines. This is why the daily ritual is so crucial. It ensures that your transformation is genuine, systematic, and sustainable. It prevents the common pattern of temporary inspiration followed by gradual regression. It creates the consistent internal pressure that forges lasting change. The 11 affirmations reprogram your identity. The strategic silence clears space for new thoughts. The written aim maintains focus on your destination. The weekly system building creates tangible progress. The monthly measurement ensures continuous improvement. Together, these elements create an unbreakable foundation for permanent transformation. As we approach the conclusion of this teaching, let me address the final obstacle that stops most men, the belief that they can think their way to success without actually changing their daily behavior. Transformation is not an intellectual exercise. It is not enough to understand these principles. It is not sufficient to agree with these laws. It is not adequate to appreciate these methods. You must live them, daily and completely, until they become as natural as breathing. The ritual I have prescribed is not optional. It is not a suggestion for those who feel motivated. It is a requirement for those who demand transformation. If you want different results, you must become a different person. and you become a different person through different daily practices. Many men will read these words and think, "This makes perfect sense. I should start doing this." But thinking you should is not the same as deciding you will. Planning to begin is not the same as beginning. Understanding the method is not the same as applying it. The distance between understanding and application is where most dreams die. It is in that gap between knowledge and action that potential becomes regret. It is in that space between intention and implementation that heroes separate from the hopeful. You now stand at that critical junction. You can choose to be inspired by these ideas without being changed by them. You can choose to admire these principles without being governed by them. You can choose to agree with these methods without being transformed by them. Or you can choose to cross the bridge from knowledge to action, from understanding to implementation, from inspiration to transformation. You can choose to make these teachings the foundation of your new life rather than merely the subject of your temporary interest. The choice you make in the next 24 hours will determine whether this message becomes a catalyst for your transformation or simply another piece of information you consumed but did not apply. Closing movement. The oath of command. The hour of decision has arrived. Everything you have heard, every principle you have learned, every law you have discovered, now demands your choice. Will you remain the man who knows what to do, or will you become the man who does what he knows? You cannot postpone this decision indefinitely. Every day you delay is a day you remain in the territory of the old self. Every week you hesitate is a week the new self waits to be born. Every month you procrastinate is a month your definite chief aim remains unrealized. The world does not reward good intentions. It does not compensate understanding. It does not pay dividends on potential. The world rewards only one thing: action aligned with definite purpose, sustained through disciplined practice, and pursued with unwavering commitment. You have been given the formula. You have received the method. You have learned the laws that govern the transformation from fear to command, from doubt to certainty, from reaction to creation. But formulas unused remain theoretical. Methods unapplied remain academic. Laws ignored remain powerless. I have shown you men who rose from poverty to wealth, from obscurity to influence, from limitation to leadership. But they did not rise through understanding alone. They rose through application. They rose through daily practice. They rose through the systematic implementation of the very principles you now possess. Carnegie did not think his way to steel empire. He built it through daily application of definite purpose. Ford did not imagine his way to automotive revolution. He created it through persistent action toward his written aim. Lincoln did not dream his way to presidential greatness. He achieved it through unwavering commitment to his highest vision. These men were not born different from you. They were not granted special privileges you lack. They were not chosen by fate for greatness while you were condemned to mediocrity. They simply decided to govern themselves according to the laws you now understand, and they maintained that self-governance through daily disciplined practice. This is your moment of choice. This is your opportunity to step from the ranks of those who know into the ranks of those who do. This is your chance to transform from a student of success into a practitioner of it. I call upon you now to make the oath that will seal your transformation and begin your new life. This is not a casual promise you make lightly. This is a sacred commitment you make to the highest version of yourself. This is the bridge you burn behind you as you march toward your destiny. Place your hand over your heart and speak these words aloud with the conviction of a man whose life depends on them. I govern myself, and fear governs me no more. My word is law. My purpose is my compass. My rhythm is my strength. I do not wait for freedom. I build it now through daily action, aligned with definite purpose. I refuse to live as a servant to circumstances, a slave to emotions, a victim of indecision. I choose to command my thoughts, govern my speech, and direct my actions toward the achievement of my written aim. I commit to the daily ritual that transforms thought into reality, the morning affirmations that reprogram my identity, the strategic silence that clears my mind, the evening review that maintains my focus, and the weekly building that creates my independence. I will not be stopped by fear, delayed by doubt, or deterred by the opinions of others. I will not make excuses for delay or apologies for my ambition. I will not negotiate with limitation or compromise with mediocrity. I am the master of my fate because I master my daily practices. I am the captain of my soul because I command my hourly choices. I am the architect of my destiny because I build it through systematic action. From this moment forward, I live by law, not by luck. I succeed by system, not by chance. I rise by ritual, not by hope. I am transformed because I choose to be, and I maintain that transformation because I choose to practice it daily. This is my oath. This is my law. This is my life. Now that you have spoken your commitment aloud, you must seal it with immediate action. The oath without application is merely noise. The commitment without implementation is empty promise. The decision without action is self-deception. Here is your command for the next 24 hours. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier than your current habit. Place this message where you will see it immediately upon waking. Stand before your mirror and speak the 11 affirmations I have given you 3 times each with growing conviction. Write your definite chief aim in one clear sentence and place it where you will see it throughout the day. This is not a suggestion. This is an order you give to yourself. This is the first test of your commitment to the new life you have declared. If you cannot command yourself to wake 30 minutes earlier tomorrow, how can you command yourself to achieve your greatest aims? If you cannot govern your morning routine, how can you govern your destiny? The path from where you are to where you want to be is paved with daily disciplines that seem small but compound into extraordinary results. The man who masters his mornings masters his days. The man who masters his days masters his weeks. The man who masters his weeks masters his life. Your transformation begins tomorrow morning, but your commitment begins now. Your new identity awakens at dawn, but your decision to become that identity must be made tonight. Your ritual creates your reality, but your choice to practice that ritual must be absolute. You now possess everything you need to transform from a man who fears his circumstances to a man who commands them. You have the knowledge, the method, the ritual, and the commitment. The only question that remains is this: will you use what you have received, or will you let it join the collection of good ideas you never implemented? The answer to that question will determine whether you look back on this moment as the day everything changed, or as another day you heed defeat. Thought about changing but never did. Choose wisely. Choose completely. Choose now. Your time of command begins at dawn.